All right, hey everybody, welcome to the stream here. I'm Jeff, founder of theChurch.digital, and we are hanging out here doing a stream on Discord. And so some of you probably watching this on social media, on Facebook, on the YouTube. I think I even checked off LinkedIn. I actually LinkedIn's probably the social media network that I'm involved with the most these days. There's an interesting conversation on that. We may get into that today. But if you're anywhere but Discord, I would challenge you, come hang out with us. Create a Discord account. Come hang out with us on the Church Digital's Discord server. It's a lot more fun in Discord. And so you can go to a web browser, open a new web browser, go discord.thechurch.digital. Excuse me, discord.thechurch.digital. Would love to see you. I'm doing a stream right now. We've got Ian, we've got Randy, we got the Whitebeard Punk Monk. We got Megan Carter just walked in as well. And excited to hang out with you all today. We're going to talk a little digital community, I think, a little bit here, a little social media, a little bit here, I would imagine. Some digital church stuff. Ooh, something really exciting coming up with the Church Digital that we gonna need your help on. And here with the stream, people who watch the stream um, get the leaks, man. You get the leaks. You get to hear it before anybody else does. And as a matter of fact, Hilmy Barbara Carnero just messaged me something, and I will tell you now if it works. I'm so excited. Normally, I should not talk and type on the phone at the same time. That is incredibly like not good. Um, are you about to lose control? Um, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and you know, I think I like it. Good call, Whitebeard. Whitebeard, who sings that? Is that? I want to say it's a female. Cyndi Lauper. Is that Madonna? I'm so excited in the '80s. Pointer Sisters, thank you. I know I didn't like any of what I was saying. Pointer Sisters, definitely so good. Megan, how's vacation? We need to catch up. Season 9 of the Church Digital Podcast. I want to spend some time talking mental health, and I want to loop in Megan at some point. Have spend some time with her, but I got to actually have a conversation with her and see if like that's still on her radar. Because if it is, that's great. If it's not, oops. Man, vacation was awesome. Yes, excited about. Yeah, definitely. Very cool. You were at Disney, Megan? I'm pretty sure you were at Disney. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. And you know what? I'm looking in the room here in Discord. I'm seeing a lot of pirates, not a lot of ninjas. I don't like my odds right now. Kind of disappointed. Whitebeard's a pirate. Megan's a pirate. Ian, do you have a public stance on this? Ninjas versus pirates, Ian? Randy, let's bring you into the fold. Let's make this a public, like this matters. I remember looking at my son and saying, Batman versus Iron Man, which you choose will affect our relationship moving forward. You need to choose right now, ninjas or pirates. What's better? Ugh, Randy. Randy, I had so much high hopes for you, my friend, and just all dashed by the wayside. Ian, Ian's Ian's not going to disappoint me. Ian has been following the Church Digital for years. It's Ninjas, Snake Eyes forever. Ian, Oh man, I just hit the mic. That's bad. But Ian, oh Ian, it warms the heart. I knew I could trust you in that. So thank you. Um, I don't want to make people choose. I am not the person that decided that you had to choose between ninjas and pirates. Whitebeard is the mean old man who's making us all choose between ninjas and pirates. It's not me. Um, if you don't know what we're talking about here at the Church Digital Podcast, what was it? I don't forget what episode it was, but it was 295 was Tsunami and Plantology. Why am I blanking on this guy's name again? The episode we did with planting and virtual reality churches. Um, Peyton Jones. Man, I don't know. I keep wanting to say Peyton Manning, and that guy's a football player. Peyton Manning. Peyton Jones. Peyton Jones actually has a snake eyes tattoo on his arm, and so he's a ninja guy. And thus, the ninja verse pirate mythos surrounding the Church Digital. Yeah, I'm not putting that on my skin either. Like, I would get a tattoo. I don't know that I'm putting like the Snake Eyes Ninja code. Um, it's the only thing he is wrong about. Ninja's Whitebeard is so awesome. All right, so good. All right, so hey, the thing. Let me just say it up front. We're goofing off. We're having fun here. We're gonna leak something. You're gonna see something for the first time here at the Church Digital. Um, I've said this. We're excited. The Church Digital. Just today, I even got an email from my contacts over at Lausanne, which is a global missions organization founded by Billy Graham actually, and Lausanne does um, a series of online conferences. They're engaging, have relationships with people in 168 countries. Like this is a major global missional organization. We're one of the top 10, and they're doing an online, a physical congress in Korea, and they asked us, the Church Digital, to go to Korea to represent digital church and digital discipleship to the thousands of invite only missional leaders that are going to be attending this conference. Literally, like I actually tried to get an extra ticket for the conference, and they said, "Oh, it's 1,000-person waiting list." So no, we're not going to be able to get you an extra seat. But it's this massive physical conference that's going to be in Seoul, South Korea. Whenever I say I'm going to Korea into Seoul, my parents are very adamant that I say it's South Korea as opposed to Seoul, North Korea. And they also are very adamant that I never take a taxi when I'm in Seoul, South Korea, because my dad's afraid that I'll end up in North Korea. I don't know why he's so afraid that. Like I'm sure there are men with machine guns standing on the line, not wanting me to go into North Korea. Like I just don't think it's, oh hey, I'm going to get lost and go to North Korea. I'm pretty sure there's adequate signage. Um, but we're going to Korea. Excited about this. But here's the opportunity, and this is where I'm asking for my family and my friends to help out with this. I need help. Yeah, the neutral zone in North Korea and South Korea is pretty militarized. I'm sure. I'm not. The Uber driver's not going to make an oops, and there's no Uber in Korea. I know. It's a joke. Whitebeard's like googling it right now. Here's what I need. Um, we need funding. We need money to actually get us to go to Korea. And so like I'm asking for the Church Digital audience, for family and for friends to help us crowdsource to fund to get us into Korea. So here's the web page. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to type it in Discord. It's theChurch.digital/Korea, Korea. And so if you go to that web page, you can click on that link. It's going to open up, and it's your opportunity to support the movement. In it says that in Korea. Actually, I hope that's legitimately what that says in Korea. If you're looking at the webpage, I think that's pretty cool. If it does not say support the movement and it says something else, that would be embarrassing. Um, but we are looking for some help to help us get to Lausanne. We got to pay for hotels. We got to pay for flights. We got to pay for food, ancillary travel. Once we're there, I think we're trying to raise budget wise about $5,000, and so we are looking for that help. So, would love for my friends and family. We're going to be communicating this via e-newsletter and some of the other places. But right off, I always tell you, my friends, here with the stream, you get the raw, unfiltered. You get the leaks. You get the before everybody else knows. And so it's theChurch.digital/Korea. I'm excited. I'm starting to hear some of the other organizations that are going, and there's a lot of other people within the TCD ecosystem. There's several other people within the TCD ecosystem that's going to be at this thing. This is a once in a they literally say it's a once in a generation opportunity. It's last one of these was 14 years ago. Whitebeard tells us Undong El Gigada means exactly support the movement. Barbara Carnero does it again, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't occur to me. Hey, support the movement in Korean, please, on the screen, and she nails it. She's so good. Awesome. Hey, so check out. They do it at 14 years ago was the last time that this convention existed. I think last time they had 6,000 people and from 168 countries represented, and they're telling us 168 countries as well this year. I don't know if the number is 6,000, but it's massive. Thousands of people coming to this thing. Like I said, there's already a waiting list. Like we couldn't get it. I was trying to get a third ticket for another associate to come with us, and it doesn't work. They couldn't get it to us. But Jason Morris and I are going. Jason's got a strong experience with missional backgrounds, with global missions. Jason Morris actually also speaks a number of languages. Habla inglés, habla español, poquito. But Jason's far more fluent in languages. And they're telling us that if we're going to the conference, we have to be fluent and comfortable in up to 7 different key languages. Like that's the exposure here. Um, we're going to take digital churches to global missional leaders, to the CEO crowd, to the leadership of global missional organizations in up to 7 different languages, 168 countries. I'm excited, bro, sis. I'm excited, people. Like this is freaking incredible. Help us get there. Thechurch.digital/Korea. Give some funds there. Help me get to Korea. Help JMO get to Korea and share this and watch and pray for us as we're getting casting vision to digital ministry in 168 countries in 7 different languages. Like I'm gonna start. The reason I put my glasses on to keep myself from crying. Like that's freaking awesome. Yeah, 7 languages, Ian. Totally awesome. Hey, we're doing, the Church Digital Podcast. We're in the middle of season 8 here. Joey Santos. Wait, that's a church. That was the wrong inflection. Church and probably needs to be a wait. That's a church. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Wait is like more of an emphasis, and the church is more. Wait, that's a church. A little more. I kind of are sarcastic there on that. But yeah, so we're in the middle of season 8 as we're talking about church in a bar, Joey's church, and most likely, Joey's more confident than I am. But either way, it's going to be fun. We're going to spin this off into a separate show. That's going to be Joey and I co-hosting it probably every other week, and interviewing people around the world that are doing unique expressions of church. Whitebeard, like you're high on that list, my friend. I want to tell your story through. Wait, that's a church. Rave church. Yeah, I'm interested in rave church. I'm interested in punk monk. Um, Yeah, totally introduced me to Rave Church. I love it. Um, I was telling somebody, I think I said it on the show. I did unique expressions of church have always had a special place in my heart for me. Like I don't I just yeah, I mean I'll tell the story. Here's the reality was and I've said this, I felt I had a calling to be a digital pastor in in the late 90s, 1998 actually. I now that I'm thinking about it, it was I was reading Leonard Sweet's Soul Tsunami. I did a little podcast with Leonard Sweet and told him the story. But literally reading Leonard Sweet's Soul Tsunami book is where I felt a calling to be a digital pastor. Leonard Sweet was affirmation. I had the thoughts of Leonard Sweet's book, but it was completely invalidated. No one in my life was validating it. That's one of the reasons why it's so important for me to validate ministries today, is because when I was in my 20s, in my teens, nobody was validating. Nobody was thinking outside of the box, and I was alone in that. But Leonard Sweet book validated me, and in reading that book, actually, I was sitting in Tony Upton's office. He was a Baptist Student Ministry Director he worked for the Baptist General Convention of Texas at Texas Christian University, and he was late for the meeting because Tony was always late for the meetings. I was the Baptist Student Ministry President at the time, and reading that book, I can remember getting a word from God that okay, you're going to be a digital pastor. Like this is your calling. This is what you're going to do after college. You're going to be the digital pastor. And so I tried. I graduated December 1999. We survived um, Y2K, January 2000. And I tried to get a job as a digital pastor in the year 2000. AOL, Netscape, Yahoo, Excite, Alta Vista. Churches weren't interested. Building websites. I mean, I launched a website design company because at least they were doing that. Ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves was the thing. But yeah, I know I was shocked. No churches had vision. Not one church had vision to hire me. I had conversations with hundreds of churches, man. And nobody had a vision for it. And it was during that time, the years, and basically I launched thebeliever.com. We've talked about this historically. Well, fine. If no church is going to hire me, yet I have a calling to be a digital pastor, I'm just going to create my own. I wasn't smart enough to call it a digital church at the time, but it was. It was a church. Um, called ebeliever.com. We created an online community. We had up to 30 to 40,000 people, as I recall. I don't know the exact number, but active in the thousands per month, hits in the thousands per day on the website. Um, Discussion boards, chat rooms, movie reviews, music reviews, some of the first video teachings posted online we're through ebeliever.com. We were posting on Windows Media Player, on Real Video. Like this is throwback. This is way before QuickTime was QuickTime. My first online Bible study I ever taught was in the year 2000. On a I took 75 people through the Book of James on a discussion board system called Ultimate BB. Essentially, it was a Facebook wall, threaded conversations. But once again, this is before Facebook was Facebook. And so we were doing, arguably, we were doing social media before social media was doing social media, or at least we were doing digital community before anybody else was. And that was the year 2000. And so doing unique things, well, the physical church doesn't always approve innovative ideas and doesn't always give bandwidth for people who are thinking outside the box for kingdom benefit. I remember, yeah, understatement, Ian says. I remember um, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm trying to think how deep I want to get into the story. 2000. So we had huge success within eBeliever, not monetary success. There was a little .com boom. that actually wrapped up in the early 2000s. It wrapped up April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, 2020, in the year 2000. And we actually launched eBeliever April 15th in the year 2000. And so we missed it by just a couple weeks. But ministry wise, huge success. Creating the model for digital community 20 years in advance, meeting people globally, the Bible studies, music reviews, and it was, I mean, it was 100% bivocational. I think the community itself, I may have had one sponsor for like $1,000. Worshiptogether.com, as I recall, was the sponsor. But like the connections, the relationships were solid. And I had seminary students that were teaching some of the Bible studies online. They were just doing it for fun. I had college students writing music reviews and movie reviews for me, and I would give them like free CDs or and free movie tickets if they would write it up. Like and so like it just was it was a bunch of rebels doing something that nobody said that they were allowed to do, and kind of like a peers mentality a little bit. If I'm honest, we were in the early 20s and stupid. Just graduated from college, and that crushed and burned. I told a story about how eBeliever crashed in the server. I don't want to get into all that because that's a 30-minute story. But the news is, hey, Gap, but God, man, God shut that down. In the season, it was awesome. And I think it had an impactful. Why did God shut it down? I have no idea. It had an impact on me, and it helped shape who I was. Um, when that we had a server crash, and the basically I lost 4 years of website, 2000 to 2003 website design, and the company that I had paid tens of thousands of dollars for to manage my servers and to back up my servers, managed my servers, but failed to back up my servers. And I literally lost 69 websites in one Thanksgiving weekend. And one of them was ebeliever.com. I literally lost 4 years of discussion boards, 4 years. This is before Gmail. So 4 years of email, 4 years of chat, 4 years of community. Um, and some of it I had backed up, like the HTML stuff, but the dynamic content was not. And so I was screwed. That was what we call the Amish phase or the Luddite phase of the Church Digital, because I was so anti-technology. Actually, I bought it. I had a lawyer who I was going to use to sue, who's a lawyer friend from a church that I was active with, Travis Avenue in Fort Worth. And Brad Dowell. Brad was involved in the college ministry and was a very part of a well-known lawyer firm in Dallas. And I asked Brad in the year 2003, hey, maybe it's 2004 at this point. Hey, Brad, during February or so, hey, like, here's literally the contract saying they're backing it up. Here's the screen cap of the image saying that they're backing it up. Like I had my case well documented. Um, like I'm thinking about suing this company because I literally I lost my business. I lost my community. I was getting F-bombed by pastors. 69 church websites went offline that we had designed. And he says, Jeff, he says, you are right. And you have what you need to win the case. He said, this lawyer company this company has much more money than you do. They literally owned a building, a skyscraper in the Dallas Metroplex, downtown Dallas. Owned it, like their names plastered on the side of the building. He says they got more money than you do. You will never see a penny from this lawsuit. He's like, if you need validation that you're right, congratulations, you're right. He says, but don't waste a penny on a lawyer to get this because you're never going to get there. He says, instead, invest the money in your next business. What are you going to do now? So I bought a Christian bookstore in the year 2004. It's a fun story. I should probably tell that at some point, not today. But I went through this season of workplace ministry where workplace ministry became really important to me. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you've ever like hung out or if you have any experience working at a Christian bookstore. Um, Probably the most relational ministry I've ever done in physical space was at the Christian bookstore. People were coming in broken, looking for advice, looking for help. I was having conversations with people who were afraid to have the same conversation with their pastor. Like it was honest to God, it was beautiful. It was something I didn't anticipate. I thought, oh, you know what? I'm just going to sell some books. I remember when we bought the bookstore, it was kind of like we had just expanded into new territory. It was just after Christmas. That's what it was. And so the inventory was light. And I remember I bought all the books I wanted. My wife and I, we intentionally like stocked the entire bookstore with the crap we wanted to make sure that Miami read. And nobody bought it. We quickly learned that it wasn't the opportunity to push our agenda on people. Instead, it was our opportunity to listen to people. My wife literally just brought me Starbucks. Awesome. I love my wife. Thank you. It was our opportunity to listen. And so starting to engage with really some of the sweetest, most beautiful Christians in the city of Miami. Oh my gosh, it was such an experience. So good. There are some jerks. Um, there's a he's probably still. It's interesting. I was just at a Chinese Baptist church here in Miami, Florida. We're doing some AV work for them, I think, and I was in their back closet next to their fellowship hall, and I had this flashback memory. I sold them their choir gowns, um, 20 years ago, 2004, 2000, yeah, 2004 probably, and they still are using those choir robes. And actually, I looked inside the choir robes, and it says the Living Word Christian Bookstore. Like my name is printed the bookstore's name's printed in the robes. But there's guys who's probably still preaching. There are a couple guys that would bought these really nice pastoral robes, like the high church pastoral robes, and they would intentionally bounce the check that was written to pay for the custom robes that they were in. And when confronted, they said it was not their fault. It was my fault that the check had bounced and that they refused to um, pay for the robes. So essentially, they stole the clothing that they're currently wearing as they preach the word of God in front of their church. I'll let you come to your own conclusions on that. The bookstore was not a church. Yeah, it's so true. What Flat Cap? The bookstore was not a church. We weren't operating as a church. We spun up a second model. Murphy Robes, yes, sir. That's it right there. That was our vendor that we did so much work through. A lot of African American churches, Chinese Baptists, like I said, a lot of African American pastors wanted the Murphy Robes to preach in. Where am I going with this? But I opened a second business in 2000, probably 2006, called C28. Um, there is no Testaments, not vestments. Testaments was the little mints that you would come in like a pack of like 15, and you'd open it up and it would be individually wrapped, and then there was like a Bible verse on the. I don't know what vestments is. Is that the anyway? I'm not going to get lost in that. C28. There's this clothing brand. Oh, the story goes like this. There's this guy named Aurelio Barreto. Aurelio was um, a millionaire in California. You ever seen those? Yeah, Whitebeard, Whitebeard man. We may be the same person. I'm just younger. You ever see those dog houses that look like igloos? Yeah. So evidently, this guy named Aurelio Barreto sold that idea for about $10 million back in the 90s, um, and was not a Christian at the time, but found Christ through his daughter's Christian school, that private school that they were going to. Hey, Dibbert. Um, Man, I just was having conversations with Dave. I just had a great talk with Dave maybe a couple minutes ago, a couple hours ago. But Aurelio Barreto ends up getting all this money, finds Christ, and asks the question, what is God asking me to do with all this money, $10 million, a couple years ago, or like a couple decades ago, in the early 2000s, and he came up. He felt led to create this idea of a Christian head shop. Now, if you're familiar with like C28, or I'm sorry, if you're familiar with like Hot Topic or PacSun, like in the malls, Hot Topic really has kind of that like goth type feel, but they sell T-shirts and they sell, um, you know, knickknacks and kind of like just crap toy stuff and variety of items, but it's very early teens, mid teens. And then there's PacSun. That's maybe it's a higher quality. It's the button-up shirts and the custom brand jeans and that. Yeah, it's that was what Aurelio launched. He launched a clothing brand called NOTW, Not of This World, and he launched a retail store called C28. And so we started selling NOTW at the bookstore, at Living Word Christian Bookstore, and like these T-shirts. You'll see the T-shirts. There's a couple guys around here in the Church Digital that still have the T-shirts on, but they're like they would always have scripture on them, or it always have a spiritual meaning to it. But like skulls, crossbones, like this is not Budweiser up, this blood's for you, Caruso Christian bookstore T-shirt type stuff. This is like you know really edgy. And what Aurelio was finding with these designs at his retail store, this is so beautiful. He started training teenage employees that were selling the shirts at the C28 stores in California, training them how to share the gospel using the shirts. Like somebody would come up and instead of selling the shirt, they would explain the meaning of the shirt, why the shirt was the shirt. And so they were sharing the gospel through the shirt design to people in the store. Now, some of these people were Christian. Some of these people were just casually walking in and thought the design was interesting, and they literally were bringing people to Christ in the brick and mortar mall in California. They had maybe 6 or 7 locations at the time in California. I got word of this. To be honest, I don't even remember how I got word of this. My wife was on a mission. It was in the summer, maybe 2006, and I got maybe 2005. I got uh, maybe I read an article. There was a link or something, but my wife was literally in Ukraine on a mission trip for it. And when she goes, she's there for like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, like a long term mission trip, and a long short term mission trip. And I literally I started emailing my wife because that was the only connection I really had was email. I started emailing my wife all these links about C28 and saying, "Hey, like when you get back, we're gonna fly out to C28. I want to see this. I want to experience this. I may want. I'm Amy. I may want to do this. Amy, like this may be the next business. Amy, like this is Amy. I've already got people saying they want to invest in this. I had like I remember to be honest, I didn't even give my wife an opportunity to say yes or no. Like she came home from the mission trip, and I think we had already booked the tickets to fly out to California to meet with the leadership to start a franchise of C28. We were actually the first C28. We were the first franchisee of C28. No, We were the first franchisee of C28 not in California. There was another guy in Northern Cal, but we were the first one out of the state of California. And I had the franchise for C28 locations from from the Keys all the way up to north of Orlando. That was what I negotiated initially. Opportunities to expand that, but I was like, we wanted to do them in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Tampa, Orlando. I feel like there was a sixth location. I can't think of it right now, but we had investors. I had like over 1 million verbally committed to invest into this, and it was, Jeff, we need a proof of concept to get people's money to invest. The people with the dollars were like, you get a proof of concept working, we can see it, and we're going to do this across Florida. We were, so we did it. We launched. I remember we went in the summer, and we paid, we signed the contracts, and we opened Thanksgiving weekend, that whatever that year was, 2005. Literally, it was like boom, boom, boom. They couldn't believe how fast we got everything going, and it was in Wellington Green. It was West Palm Beach, Florida. Wellington Green's out west in a really rich area of West Palm Beach. They do a lot of horses. What do you call horse polo? Is that the game that they play out there? Whitebeard polo? I feel like there's another name for it. Maybe it's polo. But literally, that's what we were. Yeah, polo. Um, so we opened the store in West Palm Beach. Money was not great. Ministry was incredible. We saw 100 kids come to Christ in a brick and mortar mall. Literally witnessed to and brought 100 kids to Christ. One of my authors from ebeliever.com, my best movie reviewer, music reviewer, Ryan Elo, was actually my manager. I flew him in. I called him up. I said, hey, I want you to come do this. Hey, Ryan, I hadn't talked to you in 3 years. God has placed you on my heart. I'm doing this thing, and I want you to move here with your wife from Colorado to West Palm Beach, Florida, to come do this. Pray about it, and when you say yes, let me know, because I don't have a backup plan, bro. It's you. Honest to God, that was what it was. And he said yes, and so he moved his wife from West Palm to West Palm Beach, and actually his wife's best friend Emily was a retail manager as well. And so, hey, Emily, come on, let's go. We're gonna change the world for Christ. We're gonna change Florida for Christ through unconventional methods. I don't know that we were a church. We weren't doing long term discipleship at the time. I didn't think we could do long term discipleship in a retail store in my 20s. In my 40s, I would love to do it again and implement something. I just happened to be wearing an I Am Second t shirt that was not timed, but doing something like No Place Left model with the retail store. Oh my gosh, that would be so good. Doing the 3/3, 20 years later, 20 years wiser. But we would feed people. Life Church Wellington, like the Life Church just opened a Wellington campus. As a matter of fact, our best guy, our best witnesser, became the youth pastor at the Wellington campus. Russ Hopkinson, I think his name is. Oh my gosh, there's so much ministry. There was relational, face to face with people, and then taking that relationship to digital. I was blogging at the time under a blog called runwithgod.com. I don't know if it's still up. Some of it still probably is, but I was just documenting the stories of running a Christian bookstore, running a C28, an evangelism tool for Christ in a brick and mortar mall, and doing. I was working at a church as a multi-site church as a production director. So I had 3 jobs at the same time. One was owning a Christian bookstore, and I had a assistant manager running that. That Christian bookstore is in Miami. It was $1 million Christian bookstore business. Uh, we probably took a $300,000 Christian bookstore and turned it into $1 million a year Christian bookstore. C28 in uh, 90 minutes, 2 hours away from where I lived. So my second business was 2 hours away. And then I took a church multi-site. We launched one from 1 to 5 campuses in 18 months. That was all of my jobs combined at the same time. So I had a conversation with this guy yesterday. He's like, "Hey, how long have you been like a fractional leader type of hands in everything, like, side hustles and all that?" And I was like, "Oh man, since day one. God, God's never given me stability." Um, I take that back. God has been gracious enough to give me stability in the midst of the chaos. I do believe that. My life is stable. I mean, I know how to pay the bills. Mortgage comes in. I'm hoping people will actually, um, help us get to Korea one way or the other. It's interesting. Whitebeard actually posts a Run with God article that I published. It's from Web Archive. Yeah, so that was this lists all the chaos. Good mood, that's unusual. So number 10, this is so stupid. This is blogging back in 2007. Number 10, my mom bought a Cadillac XLR and my parents went out of town. That's the Roadster Cadillac with the two-seat Roadster with the hardtop convertible. And so my mom went on vacation. My parents went on vacation. They left me the keys to the house that had the Roadster. And so I literally drove the Roadster for like 2 weeks. And it was the first year that they did the hardtop convertible XLR, like that model of the Cadillac. And the hardtop roof got stuck in this position. Literally got stuck in the up position. So I broke my mom's car, and so I had to deal with getting it fixed. But CF Homestead, that was our first multi-site launch. Ministry Rally, I was overseeing the main broadcast campus. I was the only production director for 5 campuses, and so I oversaw that. C28 West Palm Beach, back to school. Ryan is the manager, what he was doing there. Coffee with Rob Robbins, the station manager of Call FM. I was on the board of directors for Call FM at the time. Wickenomics. Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten about that book. It's a really interesting book. If you're actually, I need to really go back and look and see how much that holds up. Emily, the assistant manager up at C28, actually came down to live with us at the bookstore, Amy and I, to run the bookstore. She lived with at our house in the guest room, and to do that for a season. Um, Today, I had several opportunities in the talking in the past. I've had in the past several opportunities, about 72 hours, to talk with people who are in different places, ministry, businesses, life. I've realized that by working so hard, so much, I've really limited myself to the people I've come in contact with, and that I really hate being the loner. Uh, Amy went back to teaching, to work today after 10 months off from teaching. She's gearing up for the school year again. She's going to Palmetto Senior High, where she's teaching pre-cal and algebra. She's excited. Algebra 1 or Algebra 2. She's excited, which means she's happy, which means ultimately I'm happy. Oh, and I'm glad to get another paycheck coming in too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know why that was important. It is interesting. I really hate being the loner. What is it about innovation? What is it about fragmented leadership? What is it about disruption that creates isolation? Have you guys watched? I watched this last night. Unrelated, maybe it's entirely related. It's on Netflix. Have you watched this the Glass Onion, which is the Knives Out sequel? What's his name? Ryan Johnson, the director. Ryan Johnson is a really good Hollywood director. He did Looper. He did Brick. He did Star Wars Rogue One. Um, and he's rumored to have a Star Wars trilogy. I would really love to see that. Um, yeah, yeah. And then he did Knives Out, which is a whodunit starring Daniel Craig, and then a sequel, which has nothing to do with Knives Out, but it's still starring Daniel Craig, called Glass Onion. And Glass Onion's on Netflix. I'm assuming Knives Out's on Netflix. I don't know that for a fact. But I watched Glass Onion last night, and it's about a murder mystery story tied up within a bunch of innovators and disruptors and hangers-ons, and like just it was really I've just maybe the second or third time that I watched it. And I watched it last night at like 2 a.m. and I was like, oh my gosh, the story was much richer than I remembered it being, um, much more poignant towards being, I mean, honestly, alone in the midst of this disruption, in the midst of the disruption that they were causing. And there were, individual disruptions in different industries and blah, 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 blah. But no, New York did not blow up in that movie. I was very sad. Um, I mean, really, and Whitebeard says it, you solved the isolation for many of us by creating the Church Digital. Yeah, the Church Digital is born out of blood, born out of years of being told, Jeff, it doesn't work that way. Because damn it, I don't want anybody to be told it doesn't work that way when it does, when it can. I lost too many years looking from approval for people that didn't and wouldn't ever give it. Not because I was wrong, but because they were unwilling to look outside their own box. And if somebody's got to listen and say, hey, actually, that can work. It's similar to this type of model, and these guys are having success with that. Have you met them? Would you like to? Would you like to get connected? Documented, I've had over 600 conversations with people like you all. To be honest, I stopped keeping track. That's probably my bad. There's so much opportunity to think differently. Yeah, I'll just I'll be unfiltered right here. I struggle. I had this conversation with Barbara yesterday. I am, oh my gosh, some of the stuff that we're working on right now, I cannot leak this. I am not going to leak this. Some of the stuff that we're working on right now to help the digital church planter, to help our movement leaders, like I think it's going to revolutionize the game. Like we are really looking at the big problems that are stopping and preventing um, digital ministry and digital churches, and we're trying to solve them at a global level. And to be honest, I think we're close. And like that's like we're trying to solve this at a global scale. And God is really opening some incredible doors for us in this space. And so for the planters and the innovators and the people out there, I am freaking excited because of what's coming soon. the more that I cast vision for what we're working on, it's because we're in the midst of this right now as we're working with trying to raise funds for the Church Digital. We just talked about Korea with you guys, and so that's awesome. That's dedicated. The money that goes on that Korea page, the Church.digital/Korea is dedicated to help us get to Korea. And we're trying, like I said, budget's like I think around $5,000 to get there, and so we're trying to raise 5K to take digital Korea, to take digital churches to Korea to get to 168 countries. And that's freaking exciting. As I started writing some fundraising material where I use languages like I use English language, but I use language like, hey, we're trying to do something different to reach someone different. We love what the physical church is doing, but we need to recognize that the physical church is reaching 25% of Americans today. 25% of Americans are actively involved in a physical church. And we're not disrespecting the physical church, but we got to do something else different to reach these different people. And that's where digital comes in, and that's where church in a bar comes in, and that's where a lot of these other unique methods, like, we need to be more innovative in this space to effectively reach people instead of trying to bang the drum that hasn't worked for 20 years, and so why is it going to work now? So as I say that, even as I say that, like, you're hearing, Jeff, do you have a bone to grind? Like, you got a chip on your shoulder? You like a little, like, bitter, upset towards the physical church? Maybe. It is such a challenge to disrupt something while being respectful to it. And I've always felt like I didn't want to better digital church by tearing down physical church. But I have to separate digital church from physical church and help people understand why we're doing something different. And so, like, I struggle with that. I struggle with, hey, I got Ian on this thread, on this. I got Randy, who's a physical church pastor. I've got um, Dibbert. I've got Megan, who is a pastor in resourcing, engagement and discipleship. Megan. I mean, I've got, out of the 7 people on this thread, 4 of them are active in a physical church, like a established physical church, albeit different sizes. Everywhere from, Ian's at what, 50 or 100 to Megan's at 1,000 plus. Dibbert works with churches, at a physical churches on a global scale. So I struggle because I don't want to tear down or demean the ministry of what was happening at First Capital Christian or at any of the Whitebeards at a TC at a TD at a church of 1600. Um, I don't want to tear down what's happening in those spaces, but I mean, I could ask Whitebeard, you're at a church of 1600 people. How many people actually live in the community? And if, I mean, arguably at least 90% of them are not active in a church. Well, I mean, at least 75% of them are not active in a church, at least at a national level. So how many people are kind of not connected where you live, Whitebeard? Yeah, that's my point. I have struggled. I want everybody to like me. Not like, oh, hey, yeah, Jeff's my buddy. Let's pat him on the back. Let's go grab a beer. I have struggled because even though I'm 25 years older, I still feel like I'm the guy that's trying to get approval from someone. I've even said, like, my goal is to create a biblically stable digital model of church that's accepted and validated, um, that's operating at a global scale. Korea is the first step to that, or not the first step, but a step towards that. Yeah, Ian says it happens with me even in physical. I mean, it's a hard reality. Not, I'm sure not everybody suffers from that. Being an innovator doesn't help. Being an innovator in church space definitely doesn't help. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about the wrong industry to innovate in? Innovate in churches. They'll love you for that. I mean, shoot, what's his name creates the printing press, and they practically kill him. They turn him into a villain. All those poor monks who used to write out the scriptures by pen, they lost their jobs. What about them? What about all those people that are now reading scripture for the first time, who never had access to the Word of God? They'd have to get it from a priest. Is that what they intended? All that scripture is supposed to, and now it's freaking built into a mobile phone. God bless the internet. Anyway, that was a very long rant for, hey, we've got Joey Santos coming up for, wait, that's a church. I'm doing a stream tomorrow afternoon on that, as we're talking more about church at a bar. There's such a unique balance. It's very, it's tripwire. It's featherlight. We need to be innovative and disruptive. But what I'm recognizing is that our funding isn't coming from the typical models. We're trying to get funding from the people that we're being disruptive with, or at least are recognizing what we're disrupting and are okay with what we're disrupting. Who are the supporters that we have that are backing us? Who are encouraging us and who are supporting us? The church digital plays a part of that, definitely. At an emotional level, it's funny. I actually we part of the fundraising, we reached out to some of the planters that we've worked with over the years. Dr. John and Bosarge, Utope, Stunami. Who am I missing? Shoot, there's a fifth one. And hey, what's your story? What are you doing? And how did the church digital help? And to the T, encouragement, guidance, coaching. That's what I see the church digital doing. Creating, connecting with people, inviting them into a community where we can equip them, A, with discipleship, B, with coaching and resourcing. And then, which leads towards mobilization, helping them get mobilized to get on the internet. That's the goal of what we're doing. But as you guys know, you need more than that. Some of that can happen within the communities here within the church digital, prayer, resourcing, discipleship, accountability, encouragement, ideas. If we want to see this thing explode, we got to figure out the funding. Money kills movements. I do believe this. I've seen this in countries like Cuba, in Latin and South America, where I've been a part of discipleship movements that are fire. But you get somebody that's financially motivated and looking at it as a job and doing a checklist, and it's like a wet blanket on the flame. So we don't want to be financially motivated, but then how do we do the ministry completely if we can't even get like bivocational funding or budget funding to resource what we're trying to do. That's my challenge. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know that I've said this publicly. We're trying to raise $100,000 for the next 6 months worth of the church digital operations, and that's not. I'm not even sure I'm going to take a paycheck or salary out of that. Maybe I will if we get a full 100,000. And excuse me, not paycheck, not salary, a stipend, contract, a fraction. That seems to be the question. How do we fund this vision? I don't know. It's been fun hanging out with you guys today. I'm a lot more melancholy. I'm more, you know what? I've actually discovered this. I'm more melancholy in these streams than I intend to be. On the podcast, with somebody, I've got more energy. I carry more energy. Um, Here on with the streams, I tend to be more reserved. I'm dealing with heavier topics. I'm not afraid to kind of lean into that. You guys are fun. I do appreciate it. Whitebeard finding all these links has been so much fun. Cool. Anything else for today? I've been rambling for the past hour. It's been fun. It's been good. I kind of ran out of juice. Okay, next week for the stream, we're gonna make a big deal about this. We're gonna get TCD leadership together, all of us. I think we calendars align, schedules align, but Andy, Barbara, JMO, and Leighton are all flat cap, are all jumping on this stream. And we're going to spend time discussing the why and the how, why we came to Discord, and how that launch went and is going. And so, like, there's been a lot of interest around Discord. And so we're going to kind of make a big deal about that and that. And so we'll record it, put it on YouTube as well, probably not as a podcast, but put it as out there or something. And yeah, I tell you what, my podcast is the stats are tanking. YouTube is up and to the right. Podcast is like almost weekly dropping. So that's an interesting dilemma. I don't know if it's a dilemma. I think it's just a shifting. But we're getting a lot more energy and participation in YouTube. All right. So hey, that's next week's stream on Tuesday, and then tomorrow at 2, I'm doing Wait That's a Church. Check out the Discord event boards to get a sneak peek of what's coming up. All sorts of fun stuff there. Even getting into Whitebeard's digital monastery, which I'm excited to see him experiment and explore with there in the church digital space. And at that point, we are going to wrap. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. This is not at all the topic I thought I was going to get to, but it's where I landed, and I think it was fun for me. So I hope this has been good for you, and you all have a great one. To quote Ian, talk to you later.